1966, two Brazilian men were found dead on Vintem Hill, both wearing strange lead masks, the kind used to protect from radiation. Next to them lay a notebook with a cryptic message: "Be at the designated place at 4:30. Take capsules after the effect. Protect metals, await signal." There were no signs of struggle, no poison detected, and no one knows what signal they were waiting for. Some say they were conducting a secret experiment. Others believe they were waiting for contact from something not of this world. The flickering glow of a single candle casts long, dancing shadows across my room. Tonight, we're not just telling a story, we're descending into one of the most chilling and bizarre unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. Forget everything you think you know about true crime, because the tale of the lead masks case will make your skin crawl and leave you questioning reality itself. It all begins with a seemingly innocent report of two bodies found on a desolate, windswept hill. But what was discovered there was anything but ordinary. It was a scene so strange, so unsettling, it felt like it was staged by something not of this world. August 20th, 1966, Vintem Hill, Brazil. A young boy flying a kite stumbles upon a gruesome sight. Two men lying side by side in a clearing, perfectly dressed in suits. Their bodies showed no obvious signs of a struggle or injury. But as the police got closer, the scene grew stranger. Next to them was an empty water bottle, two wet towels, and a handwritten notebook. The most disturbing detail, however, was what they were wearing on their faces. Two crude, handcrafted lead masks, the kind used to protect against radiation, covered their eyes. Who were they? They were identified as Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel José Viana, two electronic technicians from a nearby town. They had told their families they were leaving to buy a car and some work materials. They were last seen boarding a bus to Niterói carrying a briefcase with 2.3 million cruzeiros, a substantial amount of money. But here's the first twist. The money was gone. The notebook found at the scene was the key, or so everyone thought. It contained a cryptic, almost schizophrenic set of instructions. Phrases like 4:30 p.m. be at the determined place, 6:30 p.m. ingest capsules, after effect, protect metals, wait for mask signal. Ingest capsules, protect metals, wait for a mask signal. It reads like a bizarre ritual, a set of steps for a ceremony we can't possibly comprehend. Investigators were stumped. Toxicology reports were inconclusive because their internal organs were too decomposed for proper analysis by the time they were autopsied. It was as if time itself had been warped on that hill, accelerating the decay just enough to hide the truth. Locals began to whisper. For years, strange lights had been seen hovering over Vintem Hill. UFO sightings were common in the area. Had these two men arranged a meeting with extraterrestrial beings? Did they believe these lead masks and mysterious capsules were part of a procedure to make contact, a ritual that went horribly, fatally wrong? The theories spiraled. One friend of the victims claimed they were part of a group of scientific spiritualists, a fringe society that attempted to communicate with other dimensions and alien life. He said they were obsessed with building a device to make contact, and the trip to Vintem Hill was supposed to be the final, successful experiment. They believed a bright, blinding light, an explosion of energy, would signal the moment of contact, and the lead masks were meant to protect their eyes from this celestial blast. Did they succeed? Did they see something so terrifying, so powerful, that their hearts simply gave out from sheer fright? The image is horrifying. Two men, lying in the grass, their eyes shielded, waiting for a signal from another world, only to meet their end in silent, inexplicable terror. The ground around them was reportedly cleared, as if by a sudden, intense heat or force, yet their bodies were untouched by fire. Decades have passed, and the lead mask's case remains a gaping wound in the annals of the unexplained. The money was never found. The capsules were never identified. The mask signal never came, or perhaps it did, and only Manuel and Miguel witnessed it. The police officially closed the case, but for those of us who peer into the dark, it's wide open. What truly happened on Vintem Hill? Were they victims of a simple robbery that was elaborately staged to confuse police? Or did they willingly participate in a ritual that opened a door they couldn't close? Perhaps the most terrifying possibility is that their experiment worked, that they made contact, and what they found on the other side was not enlightenment, but a swift and silent death. As you turn off the lights tonight, think of them. Two men in suits lying on a lonely hill, their eyes covered by lead, waiting for a signal in the dark. On a cold morning in 1948, a well-dressed man was found dead on Somerton Beach in Australia. No ID, no wallet, all tags cut off his clothes. In his pocket, a small piece of paper with the words Tamam Shud, Persian for "it is finished." Later, police discovered a hidden code in a book connected to him, written in cipher. No cause of death, no identity, just a single message that still chills investigators decades later. It is finished. Imagine this. A calm, sun-kissed beach in Australia, December 1948. Waves gently lapping the shore. But amidst this peaceful scene lies a mystery that has baffled investigators for over 70 years. Propped against a seawall, a well-dressed man is found, seemingly asleep, but he will never wake up. This is the story of the Somerton Man, and it begins with a single cryptic clue. Who was this man? No one knew. His clothes had all their labels snipped off. There was no wallet, no identification, nothing to say who he was or where he came from. He was a ghost. Investigators were stumped. An autopsy revealed no obvious cause of death, though some suspected a rare, untraceable poison. The man was in peak physical condition, looking more like an athlete than a victim. The mystery only deepened as weeks turned into months. Then a breakthrough, or so it seemed. A tiny, tightly rolled piece of paper was discovered in a hidden fob pocket of the man's trousers. On it were two words, printed in an ornate script, Tamam Shud. It's a Persian phrase meaning, "it is ended" or "it is finished." These words were torn from the final page of a rare book of poetry, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The police launched a nationwide search for the exact book this scrap came from. Months later, a man came forward. He'd found a copy of the Rubaiyat tossed into his car around the time the Somerton Man was discovered. And on its final page, the section with Tamam Shud was torn out. This was the book. But inside, investigators found something even more bewildering. Penciled in the back were strange lines of what looked like code. 5 lines of capital letters with 1 line crossed out. Was it a secret message? A cipher from a spy? To this day, the world's best cryptographers have been unable to break it. The book also contained a phone number belonging to a nurse who lived nearby. When questioned, she claimed she didn't know the deceased man, though she admitted to once owning a copy of the Rubaiyat, which she'd given to a man named Alfred Boxall. For a moment, it seemed the case was solved, but then police found Alfred Boxall, alive and well, with his copy of the Rubaiyat, the final page intact. The nurse seemed terrified when shown a plaster cast of the Somerton Man's face, but she revealed nothing more. So who was the Somerton Man? A heartbroken lover? A Cold War spy whose mission had finished? A man running from a past so terrible he had to erase his own identity? His body was eventually buried under a headstone that simply reads, "Here lies the unknown man." Despite recent DNA analysis suggesting a possible identity, the code, the book, and the true reason for his silent end on that beach remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of all time. In 2014, 28-year-old Lars Mittank, a German tourist, was vacationing with friends in Bulgaria. After a fight injured his ear, he decided to stay behind for treatment while his friends flew home. But something changed in him. He called his mother, whispering that people were following him. Security cameras later caught Lars sprinting out of the airport terminal, abandoning his luggage, even his passport, before disappearing into a nearby forest. He was never seen again. No one knows what terrified him, or what he saw before he ran. Imagine this. You're on vacation, having the time of your life. But a small fight changes everything. Suddenly, you're alone, injured, and terrified. You call your mum, whispering that 4 men are trying to kill you. Then you run for your life, straight into a dense forest, and are never seen again. This isn't a horror movie plot. It's the true, terrifying story of Lars Mittank. On July 8, 2014, Lars was supposed to fly home to Germany from a trip to Bulgaria. He'd gotten into a fight a few days earlier, which left him with a ruptured eardrum. A doctor told him it was unsafe to fly and prescribed him an antibiotic. But this is where things get strange. Lars started acting paranoid. He told his mum he felt unsafe at his hotel and that the men from the fight were following him. He fled the hotel in the middle of a night, hiding from something he couldn't explain. The next morning, Lars went to Varna Airport, hoping to finally get home. He saw the airport doctor, who confirmed he was fit to fly. But during the consultation, a man dressed as an airport worker entered the room. The sight of this man sent Lars into a blind panic. He leapt up, shouting, "I don't want to die here," and sprinted out of the doctor's office. Security cameras captured what happened next. It's the last known footage of him. Lars can be seen running at full speed through the airport terminal, his backpack and luggage left behind. He doesn't stop. He runs past the check-in counters, past the security gates, and out the main entrance. He keeps running across the parking lot, effortlessly climbs a 10-foot-tall barbed wire fence, and disappears into the dense sunflower fields and forest bordering the airport. He vanished without a trace. What could have terrified him so badly? Was he truly being hunted? Was it a side effect of his medication or a sudden, severe mental health crisis? The antibiotic he was prescribed, cefprozil, can, in very rare cases, cause hallucinations and paranoia. Could a simple ear infection treatment have triggered this horrifying chain of events? Or were the men he mentioned real? Did he witness something he wasn't supposed to, something that made him a target? Extensive searches were conducted. Drones, search dogs, and volunteers scoured the area. But the forest and the tall sunflower fields seemed to have swallowed him whole. In the years since, there have been countless alleged sightings from Bulgaria to Germany and beyond, but none have ever been confirmed. It's as if he ran right off the face of the earth. His family has never given up hope, continuing to search for answers. The video of Lars sprinting through the airport is haunting. It's a glimpse into a man's final desperate moments before he was consumed by the unknown. What happened to Lars Mittank after he jumped that fence remains one of the most chilling mysteries of our time. Was he a victim of foul play, or did he become a victim of his own mind? We may never know. In 1978, 5 friends from Yuba City, California, vanished on their way home from a basketball game. Months later, their car was found abandoned on a snowy mountain road, full of gas and in perfect condition. Then came the horrifying discovery. One of the men's bodies was found 13 miles away inside a ranger cabin, starved to death, despite a locker full of food and matches nearby. What made them leave their car? Why didn't they try to survive? And where are the others? To this day, the answers remain buried under the snow. Picture this: February 24, 1978. 5 friends, all in their late 20s and early 30s, are driving home from a basketball game. They're excited, celebrating their favorite team's win. Their names are Gary Mathias, Bill Sterling, Jack Madruga, Ted Wire, and Jack Hewitt. Known collectively as the Yuba County Five, they were inseparable. But on this cold winter night, something went terribly wrong. They never made it home. Their car, a 1969 Mercury Montego, was found abandoned on a deserted mountain road deep inside the Plumas National Forest. The car was in perfect working order with plenty of gas. A snack wrapper and an empty milk carton were inside, but the men were gone. The area was blanketed in snow and a fierce blizzard was raging. Why would they leave the safety of their car in such conditions? They were miles off their intended route in a direction that made no sense. Search parties scoured the mountains, but the heavy snow made it impossible. For months, there was no sign of the men. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. Their families were left in agonizing uncertainty, holding on to a sliver of hope. The case grew colder as the winter snows piled higher, burying any potential clues. Then 4 months later, as the snow began to melt, a grim discovery was made. A forest ranger stumbled upon a remote trailer used by park workers, nearly 20 miles from where the car was abandoned. Inside, they found the body of Ted Wire. He was wrapped in 8 sheets as if someone had tried to keep him warm. He had starved, despite the trailer being fully stocked with canned food and matches. It was a discovery that only deepened the mystery. Why didn't he eat? He had lost nearly 100 pounds. Shortly after, the remains of Bill Sterling, Jack Madruga, and Jack Hewitt were found scattered in the woods between the trailer and the abandoned car. The forest had claimed them. But what about the 5th man, Gary Mathias? His shoes were found inside the trailer, suggesting he had been there with Ted, but Gary himself was never found. To this day, his fate remains a complete unknown. We're left with so many unanswered questions. What made them abandon their car? Why did they trek miles into the frozen wilderness? Why didn't Ted eat the food that could have saved his life? And what happened to Gary Mathias? Was he taken, or did he simply wander off,